Charlo versus Brian Castano. Let's discuss this tonight on Paulie TV. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this rematch coming off of this was one of the better fights of 2021, if I'm really honest with myself and with you guys. I'm sure most of you agree that the first fight was dynamite. The majority of people I speak to felt like Castano won the fight. I could see that being the case, but it's a very close fight and certainly a well-deserved rematch. Credit to both fighters for wanting to go back at it, because I think this is going to be another barn burner, and we're going to be very entertained by this rematch as well. My thoughts on this fight, let's see, based on, especially on what I saw in the first fight, it's a battle of geography. I think at center ring is where Charlo has the advantages. He's got to do his best to really keep the fight at center ring. He's the more athletic fighter. He's the fighter that fights better at a distance. While Castano obviously has the most success when Charlo is pushed back to the ropes. So Charlo's got to do his best. Listen, Charlo has the athletic ability. He's got the boxing ability to keep the fight at center ring. And if I'm Charlo and Team Charlo, I'm probably working on, with my sparring partners and in camp I will have worked on, because obviously the camp is over, but I will have worked on in camp to keep the fight at center ring and circle the ring and just box from that distance. Because once Castano gets you on the ropes, he's pretty deceptive. He's throwing everything hard, so sometimes you can time him. And we saw Charlo did clip him with a catch and shoot early in the fight, based off of Castano's attempts to throw everything hard like that. He can be timed, but he also picks his shots pretty well, and he changes speed when he's throwing hard regardless. So sometimes he'll just whip in a couple of shots, and sometimes he just moves his hands really fast. So when he's doing that, it's hard to catch and shoot, because as you're trying to catch and shoot and the punches are coming in bunches, you get clipped with the rest of the combinations. A lot of times the catch and shoot works best when guys are throwing one or two punches at a time. So you catch and you shoot back, and that's how Charlo had the success early with that big shot that he clipped Castano with. But as you saw in the very next round of the first fight, Castano adjusted a little bit, and when Charlo tried that same catch and shoot, Castano was throwing in combination. So he threw that right hand, but he followed it up with a quick left hook as he was moving his hands in succession. And Charlo, doing the catch and shoot with that left hand, he caught the right hand, was coming back with his own hook, but his right hand on the other side of his face was a little low. And because Castano came with both shots, his hook was able to get to Charlo first, because it was already on the way. While in the meantime, Charlo had to block the right hand of Castano and come back the way he had done the previous round. So that one was the shot that ended up hurting Charlo. My thing is this, though. For me, Charlo doesn't have to be in those positions. Yes, he can have some mild success on the ropes. Again, he hurt Castano that previous round of the first fight with a big hook with his own back to the ropes. But ultimately, Castano's doing the better work. He's doing the more consistent work on the ropes, and he's got you on the defensive. While at center ring, Charlo can pick his spots from a distance. He's got the better decision-making ability when it comes to the straight punches. He can change distances a little bit. And honestly, if I'm honest, a lot of times Charlo is also, in my opinion, throwing shots too hard all the time. Because if I'm Charlo, I'm probably boxing Castano in spots, and I'm picking my moments to throw hard punches, but I'm also picking my moments because Castano's one defense, he doesn't have great head movement. His one defense is just to put his guard up really tight and try to push his way in behind a jab and a tight guard and maybe some right hands, just to push you straight back. So first of all, you don't go straight back, because that's what Castano wants. Castano wants to take you back to the ropes, to where then you run out of room and he can kind of work you. But also, if you're not throwing everything hard at Castano, you can use some of your offense and your athleticism, which Charlo has plenty of it, to kind of use your punches to circle him while you're attacking. So those shots, you kind of use them as deceptions to make sure you always have the more space to your back. So if you have to back up, you can back up. While in the meantime, if you have less space behind you and you back up, you're right back on the ropes where Castano wants you. So for me, this is a very important part of the fight. The real estate is going to decide everything in the fight tomorrow. Like I said, Charlo has the ability to fight off the ropes, and I guess we saw him hurt Castano, but ultimately the better work is done by Castano. Castano has to force Charlo to go back. If Charlo is going straight back to the ropes, if he's muscling Charlo all the way back to ropes, he's getting off more shots. He's got Charlo in a defensive posture, and Charlo is trying to shoot back, but he's not able to shoot back in the aggressive way that he wants to. And he's really kept at a defensive, because one thing Castano does well, he doesn't just load up those shots, but in spots, he'll start to throw them in bunches. And it forces Charlo to just cover up, because Castano's a good puncher, so you can't take any chances once he's got you trapped on the ropes. A great clash of styles. Really, two exciting fighters who have made their reputations known, and I think we'll have a terrific fight tomorrow. It's really hard to make a prediction. I think the first fight was very close. Again, it could have won either way. If I'm just off the top of my head, gun to my head, I probably pick Castano's work rate. It might get him the nod tomorrow, but again, because Charlo can make a really drastic improvement. If Charlo really focuses on keeping the fight at center ring, and he can do this. He has the athleticism to do it. He just has to have the right decision making when he's at center ring, to keep the fight at center ring and step around instead of stepping straight back. If Charlo can do this, I can see him making the fight pretty comfortable for himself, regardless of Castano's effort. So it's just a matter of how much machismo he wants to show. Because Charlo winds up going straight back because he's trying to show machismo. He's trying to answer with power shots, and he's not focusing on his ring generalship. And when he's not focusing on his ring generalship and the attack comes his way, he suddenly is a little bit shocked and he goes straight back. So if Charlo keeps his mentality boxing first, knockout second, I think he can start to get a comfortable lead in the fight, to where you force Castano to get desperate and maybe open him up for some big shots. But if Charlo's machismo, and it seems like Charlo has a pretty stubborn machismo, despite the incredible boxing ability he has, you can see he gets a little bit emotional. If he lets that get the better of him, he's going to wind up in the kind of firefight where Castano is going to be pushing him back to ropes, and he's going to be outworking him. So these are the things to look for from me in this big fight, Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano 2. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you think will win the fight. Let me know how you think the fight will break down. And I think we're all looking for a very, very exciting fight tomorrow night, or if you're watching this fight, the day of the fight, it'll be tonight. I'm Paulie Malignaggi for Paulie TV. Like, comment, subscribe, and again, let me know what you think. I'll catch you after the fight.